Welcome, I am Jason Gilbo here at Fantasy Baseball Cafe. I am taking a look at our forum here, looking at some trades, trying to help you guys gauge a sense of worth for some of these guys. A couple good deals in here, a couple of close calls based on some hot streaks lately. But I'm taking a look, jumping at the first one, Jake Odorizzi and Kyle Seager for Anthony Rendon. I am not a fan of this trade. I would much rather have Jake Odorizzi and Kyle Seager, both healthy, both having great fantasy value right now. And then this guy's obviously looking for some sort of worth, aiming a little high for the uncertainty of Anthony Rendon, who's due back shortly, but how much are we going to get from him? Will he stay healthy? He's already had one setback in rehab training, but news on him right now is looking pretty good. Even if Anthony Rendon was healthy, I'm still not sure I would pull the trigger here. Jake Odorizzi is a pretty quality pitcher right now in the fantasy world. 2.31 ERA, and he's got an average K through 9 of about 7.2 right now. I mean, Seager's on pace to hit 30 plus homers and drive in 100 plus runs. I mean, someone has to do it since Cano's not stepping up in the run producing department. But Seager's hitting 275, which is up from last year. He was a guy who was really supposed to trend upwards in 2015, and he is doing just that. If you want to compare Anthony Rendon's numbers from 2014 with Seager, Rendon 287, 21 homers. The big thing was 111 runs. That was his um, the real big comparison to Seager, where he outnumbers him greatly, and he had 10 plus more stolen bases. But Seager hit 268, 25 homers, 71 runs, 96 ribbies, and had 7 stolen bases. So tough for me to even if you get healthy numbers from Rendon this season. It's still not going to be enough to get Seager and Odorizzi. So it's a hard pass for no for me. So I'll no there. I talked about Robinson Cano on last night's podcast and how I don't believe he's going to have any substantial fantasy value going forward, and I recommended shipping him off. And in this trade, that's exactly what was going through. Robinson Cano straight up for James Shields. Two guys that are on the opposite ends of the spectrum right now. You have James Shields, who's pitching lights out with his strikeout rate through the roof at 31.5%, which is 11% higher than his career average. Shields was always going to get a boost moving to San Diego from Kansas City. You get that boost going from the AL to the NL, one of the best pitchers parks. But he has a 4.58 FIP, which is probably going to drive his ERA up a little bit more. And you're definitely going to see the strikeout rate come down just because it's not Shields' ball game to continue at a 31.5% strikeout rate. But even if it comes down, 5 or 6%, you're still going to have great strikeout numbers. And I see Shields' fantasy value for the rest of the season, even with some regression, being more than what Cano's worth if he improves his numbers. With Cano, you already saw the power drop, which everyone expected moving from Yankee Stadium to Safeco. And it dropped 10 to 15 homers last season. He only has 1 homer this season. But Cano's great trade rate because people really believe in him. I don't have much belief that he will carry any fantasy value going forward, but it is worth a risk. I'm obviously not going to give up a James Shields for Cano, that's for sure, but this guy must have plenty of pitching and needs some bats, and he's willing to take the risk. So I'm definitely in favor of getting a guy like James Shields for Robinson Cano. It is better than just releasing him or keeping him on the bench. This one was an interesting one. Matt Harvey, and Ian Desmond for Madison Bumgarner and Johnny Peralta. So 2 top 10 starting pitchers for 2 top 5 shortstops that were coming in at the beginning of the year. The one thing that needs to be mentioned right off the bat is the 6-man rotation that New York is running. Harvey's going to be baby just a little bit, which is, a lot of these guys are young guys. DeGrom especially. You already have Zach Wheeler going through Tommy John surgery, and you already have Matt Harvey who's went through it. So they're going to definitely be babied here, especially, you have Noah Syndergaard, who's definitely earned his keep here, and the six-man rotation is going to be the way to go for the Mets. It's probably the right choice with the amount of youth they have in the arm department, and it's going to cut back into Harvey's numbers just a little bit. And one thing that's going to be, come August, September, what's Harvey going to be like? Are they gonna keep his image at a limit? Is he going to be a guy who's on a pitch count for a lot of the end of the year? It's going to have a lot to say with where they at in the division, the wild card, which looks like if they maybe land a bat, they will be there. So, looking at the numbers here, Matt Harvey, 26% strikeout rate. I mean, obviously the upside is with Matt Harvey. Bumgarner's 21% strikeout, but he's going to be really consistent. I think Bumgarner's going to have his number a little bit higher in the wins department over Harvey towards the end of the season, but not a significant number. I mean, just for this year, I'm going to lean on just relying on Bumgarner, and he's going to give you 200 plus innings, and he's proven, he's a proven guy, as is Matt Harvey, but I'm just going to keep on with Bumgarner there. So moving on to the second part of that trade, Desmond hitting 295 here in May compared to his 217 in April. I mean, this was a guy who projected a 2020 season. He only has one stolen base on the season, which is a little bit disappointing. His on-base percentage is low. He's only at 305. And then you're looking at Johnny Peralta with Matt Adams going down. He's going to move up a spot and hit cleanup with a lot of great opportunities. You look at Colton Wong, Matt Carpenter, Matt Holliday, all hitting in front of him. That's a really great front three to hit behind. So Peralta is definitely going to have plenty of chances to drive in 25. He's at 25 RBIs right now, but he's going to drive in a ton of runs. 7 homers already this season, hitting over 300. So, I mean, the only real department you're going to lack in from comparing Peralta to Desmond, if Desmond hits 20 stolen bases, you're not going to get that from Peralta. But I'm definitely leaning way towards Johnny Peralta for the rest of the season comparing to Ian Desmond. So with that being said, I'm definitely taking the Bumgarner Peralta side for 2015. I can't fault for anyone for taking the trade just because of the upside of Desmond and Harvey for the rest of the season. If Desmond gets going, Harvey's obviously going to keep pitching at the pace he's pitching at. So I can't fault anyone for making the trade, but I'm definitely leaning on the safer side of keeping Bumgarner and Peralta. Last one here, Paul Goldschmidt, Dustin Pedroia, and Travis d'Arnaud for Prince Fielder, Jason Kipnis, and Jonathan Lucroy. So you're looking at position for position trade and a guy who is trying to get rid of these hot bats for some proven guys who are going to stay posting numbers throughout the rest of the season. So he's looking to ship off Fielder and Kipnis, who are on fire this month. But giving up a guy in Goldschmidt, I mean, this guy's a keeper. He's a top 5 fantasy baseball player. I can't see myself giving up Paul Goldschmidt for Prince Fielder. And the upgrade from Kipnis over Pedroia is definitely an upgrade. I'm just not sold on banking those 2 for 2 there. You're going to get a Lucroy upgrade over d'Arnaud, but it's not enough for me to ship off Paul Goldschmidt. If you're looking at the numbers right now, Kipnis plus Fielder right now in stolen bases plus home runs, he's at 20 combined there. Goldschmidt has that alone. He's got 12 homers and 12 homers and 8 stolen bases. So, I mean, you have those numbers already with Goldschmidt. And Pedroia adding to that, he's got 7 homers and 1 stolen base, so he's got 28 there. I can't see giving up Goldschmidt. He's a guy who's kind of untouchable for me. And as for the catchers, I was really high on d'Arnaud coming into the beginning of the season. And obviously they both went down at the same time, but Travis was outplaying Lucroy by a lot. I mean, Lucroy's average over the first 10 games, I mean, it's such a small sample size. But Travis was hitting over 300. He had a couple homers. So I'm definitely looking at him on the youthful side there to come back and be the guy who he was supposed to be. He's going to probably hit fifth or sixth in the lineup and hopefully provide some offense for the Mets there. A guy I noticed a lot in the forums is Andrew McCutchen. Just because of the slow start, I mean, the guy is up there in the ranks, top five. I mean, he's real close to Trout. I mean, obviously not value-wise, but he's up there right in the rankings with Mike Trout and Paul Goldschmidt, Stanton, those guys. Unless I'm blown away by an offer, I'm hanging on to him. He's going to still end up being a top outfielder. Just not a guy I'm ready to ship off. He's hitting over 400 with a couple homers in the last week. So definitely hang on to him. That's going to wrap things up. I'll be back here next week to take a look at some trades. Keep them posted in the forum. As always, I will put my input as long as the other Fantasy Baseball Cafe members. So keep that up, and I will touch on that next Thursday.